Do you struggle with comparisonitis? Are you sick of wasting energy comparing yourself to others? Would you love to stop comparing yourself and start focusing more on your own success and achievements? In this video, I'll be sharing 4 easy to implement tips to help you stop comparing yourself to other people so that you can feel more confident in who you are. Hi, I'm Rebecca Hawkes, a confidence and life coach and host of the Confidence Show podcast. If you've been here before, welcome back. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe and click the bell to turn on notifications. Now, we are all guilty of falling into the trap of comparing ourselves to others. And for those of us who identify as women, for decades, we have been almost encouraged by the media to compare ourselves. Magazine after magazine pits women against each other, comparing their outfits, their makeup, their partners, anything they can. So it's no wonder we all compare ourselves to other women too. With the rise of social media, it's no longer celebrities we compare ourselves to either. We're now more likely to compare ourselves to our friends, our peers and influencers online. This can lead to feelings of frustration, disappointment, lack and envy. We're most likely to jump aboard the comparison train when things aren't going so well for us. Perhaps we're experiencing a breakup or a launch has failed, or we were overlooked for a promotion. When we don't feel good about ourselves, it's easy to look at other people's lives and think that they've got it all worked out. What we must remember though, is that every single person we compare ourselves to is exactly like us. A human being. They have struggles too. They have things they're not happy with, hang-ups around their own bodies or achievements. And they, at some point, will be faced with the same self-doubt and imposter syndrome that we are. So take that person or people off of a pedestal and stop thinking they're any better than you. They're not. Let's also remind ourselves that social media is a teeny tiny part of someone's day. We don't see the full picture. We see a 30-second video or a perfectly planned out photo and then make our own assumptions about what their life is like. We will never know what goes on behind closed doors and we will never be able to experience someone else's reality in the way that they do, because we're not them. So how do you stop comparing yourself to other people? First up, you need to create some awareness around what's happening. This simply means recognizing and noticing when you're comparing yourself. Comparing yourself to others is a pattern, a bad habit that you need to break. And in order to break it, you need some awareness around when it's happening. Are there any triggers that make it more likely for you to jump on the comparison train? Maybe it's around your period, when you're feeling a bit low, or if you're finding it hard to make a decision in business. Perhaps it's when you're feeling stuck or haven't been able to get enough sleep. Start noticing when you're comparing yourself and see if it's because of a certain trigger. Moving forward, you can start to make sure that you're not doing the things that trigger the comparisonitis and instead form some better habits like taking breaks from social media, getting enough sleep and doing regular mindset work. If it happens more around your cycle, be aware that you're more likely to fall into the habit of comparing yourself and put steps in place to avoid scrolling aimlessly. Swap the scrolling for a mindful activity like doing a puzzle, baking, or binge some Netflix with your phone in another room. When you notice yourself comparing, acknowledge what you're doing and ask yourself, is this serving me right now? You can also try to understand why you're comparing yourself in the moment by asking yourself, why am I comparing myself right now? What thoughts led me to this? The more awareness you have, the easier it is to notice when you're comparing and switch to an empowering activity instead. Remember though, don't feel guilty, blame yourself, or feel ashamed if you notice you've been comparing again. As with breaking any habits, it takes time. Step 2 is to shift into a high vibe. Comparisonitis often happens when we're feeling low vibe, tired, overwhelmed, or stressed out. And we all have days or parts of days when we feel lower than others, and that is totally normal. But the good news is, it's something that we can do something about. When we notice these negative feelings, we can shift into more positive thoughts by playing our favourite songs, dancing around, using a technique like EFT tapping, pausing to meditate for a little while, or writing out an empowerment list in our journal. For exercises to shift into a more positive, confident mindset, I'll link the video I recently shared containing 7 confidence-boosting exercises to add to your morning routine. When you're feeling good about yourself and confident in your own skin, you don't get sucked into comparing yourself. You focus your attention on the inspiration you have and the things that you're achieving on a daily basis. Now, it's important not to mask or bury feelings that need to come out. If you're experiencing negative emotions, it's okay to sit with them and allow yourself to release them before you begin to shift into feeling better about yourself. Step 3 is to unfollow. When I first started my business in 2017, I used to feel so guilty when I unfollowed someone. Even if their content didn't make me feel good about myself, I would worry that they would think I was a terrible person and they wouldn't like me. But now I unfollow people on a regular basis. My newsfeed is a sacred place for me. When I scroll, I want to feel inspired, empowered, motivated. I don't want to be surrounded by people or content that makes me feel like I'm not good enough, like I'm doing something wrong, or content that makes me judge who I am and question myself as a person. I'll unfollow them. We have the choice to see content that makes us feel good. We get to choose the online environment we create for ourselves. We get to decide to only view stuff that enhances our mindset and makes us feel good. Unfollowing people is healthy for you. The next time you open up your feed, all you'll have is a feed full of positive, inspirational content that makes you feel good about yourself. No more comparing yourself. Now, the final step to help you stop comparing yourself to others is to focus on creating more self-love. When we focus our energy on falling in love with ourselves and becoming more confident, we're less likely to compare ourselves to other people. When we love ourselves and can appreciate our own journeys, we don't care that Sally down the road has just made 10k from a launch. We're not bothered that Barbara's got 10,000 followers on Instagram. And we're definitely not worried that Susan just got engaged after only dating the guy for a year. We're living in a state of self-love, of self-acceptance, self-appreciation, and self-confidence. So we don't even think about comparing our lives to theirs. We know that deep down, no matter what anyone else has or achieves, doesn't mean that we're a failure. It doesn't mean that we're not good enough. It simply means that we're on our own journey and we can now start to enjoy that journey. And maybe someday we will have what that person has. Maybe we won't. It doesn't matter, because we are all here for our own purpose. We're all here to create our own life, not just be a carbon copy of what we see on Instagram. So to recap, here are my 4 tips for how to stop comparing yourself to others. Step 1, create awareness around when you're comparing yourself. Step 2, shift into a positive mindset. Step 3, unfollow anyone who makes you feel like you're not good enough. And step 4, focus on deepening your sense of self-love. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up and let me know which tip helped you the most in the comments below. And if there's a video you'd like me to record for you, please share with me in the comments and I'll do my best to make that happen. Don't forget to hit subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.